several enhancements, sharpening and defining the video. It does provide a better image.
We were able to sharpen the figure somewhat to show a little bit more detail, but for the most part, just an outline of the figure. Maybe part of the face, but no detail that would assist in determining what kind of being this might be.
The expedition team is attempting to find the original location of the Patterson film in California's Six Rivers National Park. Their goal is to take measurements needed to determine the film's legitimacy. They need to land, but the snow is making it difficult to pick out landmarks.
There's that little island in the middle. There's the island.
Okay, it's 45, 26. Yeah,
okay. We're right there.
Yep,
okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock it on the GPS here, both GPSs.
The elevation is 1,000 feet higher than originally thought.
You know what, guys? There's way more snow here at this 2,500-foot elevation than I thought. So I'm not sure how we're going to be able to do it. I'm just going to tell you right now, there's at least 3 feet of snow, maybe more down there, and it's heavy, wet snow, and we just can't go there.
The weather makes it impossible to land at the exact location of the film site. So the team attempts to reach the location by foot.
Yeah, a little thicker than we were expecting. Yeah, Randy, it's
2 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is is exceptional. It's been dumping more than normal.
It's always dangerous to land on snow because it's impossible to tell what is underneath. The possibility of a dynamic rollover is always on the pilot's mind.
If something catches me left, right, or on the side, it hooks my skid, which could be a rock or a snag or something under the snow. Because of that huge energy inertia, it will flip the helicopter over instantly and I can't correct it. Destroys the aircraft, we're stuck way out where rescue is going to be difficult.
Yeah, we tried, and we had an experienced search and rescue trained pilot who's not afraid to go into risky places, and it was too much even for that.
The team will need to use a different process to determine the size of the animal in the film.
I will have to apply a photogrammetry type analysis to the site to try and conclusively determine where all of the various objects are in the scene.
Photogrammetry uses measurements derived from two-dimensional images to create a three-dimensional digital model. The basis for the measurement is the 25mm lens that Patterson used to record the creature. But when Munns inputs the data, there is a problem.
The biggest problem is the closest tree of the group of 4, this particular one right here, which leans a little and goes straight up. This one does not align at all in position or in size. I never seem to get a correct alignment using the specification of a 25mm lens. The only conclusion I can come to is that a wider angle lens must be on that camera.
Munns theorizes that Patterson may have been using a different lens.
Standard 25, and look here, we do have a 15mm Cineactar lens. That would do just about perfectly.
The new data makes all the difference.
As soon as I substituted the 15mm viewing angle, the model assembled in a matter of hours. It was actually quite astonishing. So immediately I was confident that the 15mm lens was the correct one. Now, the first thing that caught my mind was that this defies everything that everyone else has reported for 41 years. What I did not realize at the time was the ramifications it would have on the entire analysis of the creature and its height. It was only after I began to revisit the optical formula with a 15mm lens that I realized that it increases the height of the creature tremendously for any given frame, for any given distance. And that, in my personal opinion, was the real game changer, if you will, for this entire analysis.
This means that Munns can now accurately recreate the scene and, for the first time, determine the actual height of the creature.
This creature is approximately 7 foot 4 inches tall, and I'm allowing a margin of error between 7'2" and 7'6". But even within that margin of error, this is something quite extraordinary. It is highly unlikely to be a human being.
Munns will now make accurate measurements of different parts of the creature's body to see if the dimensions fit with those of a primate.
As a person who designs suits, one of our most common concerns is the very simple reality that if we have a design or a shape, will a real human fit into it?
He illustrates the issue by comparing the dimensions of his own head with a full-scale replica head of a silverback gorilla.
Now, if we take this gorilla head and we superimpose it on top of mine, aligning eyes to eyes, we now see that even though the head is larger, my forehead still sticks up outside of the head. I could not wear this mask.
Even using frame-by-frame analysis, it is difficult to determine the exact head shape of the creature in the Patterson film. Munns believes that the illusion of the head changing shape is probably due to motion blur in the film.
Here you can see how astonishingly pointed it is, how flat it is across here, rises across here, it's more of a rounded dome here, again flat, again pointed. The reason that this is a particular concern is that if our head shape is something like this particular one as an example, it may prove to be a type of a head that we actually cannot put a human inside.
Munns will build 5 different head shapes. He will then film each one using the same model of camera and lens used for the original Patterson footage. He hopes the comparison will allow him to determine the actual head shape of the creature.
These were specifically custom designed to test concepts of shape as we see in the film.
The first head is human-shaped, and each subsequent design is more and more ape-like.
For this experiment, the design of it was to allow 5 different heads to be easily interchangeable on this basic rig, so that each one will simply slide in place. Okay, we're set at 60 feet, and mark our position here. 16 frames, we're looking at f16 for 100 ASA film. Excellent. Excellent. Good depth of field.
Munn's experiment reveals a shocking result.
Certainly was a very, very strange and interesting discovery.
This special Monster Quest investigation is testing the most critical evidence of the creature known as Sasquatch. The science team's data has determined that eyewitness sightings seem to occur during specific environmental conditions. And sightings seen by more than one eyewitness further corroborate the encounters with these frightening beasts.
I couldn't believe what I'd seen.
Dean DeWeese and David Kernul were playing cards when they heard something outside.
There was quite a bit of racket going on in the back of the house there where the animals are kept.
They let their dogs out. Hines went towards the noise, but only moments later, the dogs came running back, whimpering.
They wanted back in desperately. And when we let them in, they all run over to the one corner of the house and just cowered in the corner. They were scared to death.
And I said, well, I better go out and check, you know. And I headed down, and then I seen the chickens flying all around about 50 feet away inside their cage.
He noticed a large hole ripped in the chicken wire, and then saw a tall, hairy creature with a chicken in its grip. He ran back inside to get DeWeese and a 20-gauge shotgun.
I guess, boy, oh boy, I never saw a Bigfoot before, but boy, I saw one then. This thing was huge, 8-9 feet tall.
They fired several shots over the creature's head before it retreated into the dark. It was winter, and the frozen ground left no trace of the beast.
There's no question in my mind what I saw. And it just You just got to see it to believe it.
Dr. Jeff Meldrum has scanned hundreds of track casts, looking for a telltale mid-tarsal break purported to be unique to non-human primates. He has used some of these casts to create an animation illustrating how the creature would have had to walk to be able to produce such tracks.
The push-off then comes from the entire forefoot rather than through the toes, and so we see the foot simply lift off.
The analysis reveals that the maker of the print has a definite bend to the midfoot, called a mid-tarsal break. This is not a characteristic found in humans.
So in short, the Sasquatch foot has features of the skeletal structure that are more similar to that of a primate than to a modern human.
Meldrum believes that this is crucial evidence.
The discovery, or the recognition rather, of the mid-tarsal break in Sasquatch footprints is very, very significant. I mean, it's huge. It really is huge. Personally, I think this is all but short of proof of the existence of Sasquatch.
Meldrum believes this may be the most important revelation of track-based evidence since the crippled foot tracks were found in 1969. The crippled foot finding in Washington state was of 1,089 tracks, many of which indicated a deformity of the right foot. Dr. Meldrum consults Dr. David Howe, an orthopedic surgeon.
I think that's very plausible that it's a footprint of some